My landlord tried to scam me out of my security deposit, so I got his whole building shut down. If there's one thing I can't stand, it's greedy landlords who think they can scam tenants. Well, my old landlord tried to keep my $2,000 security deposit for no reason, so I made sure he lost way more than that. The setup. A few years ago, I was renting a small but decent apartment in a rundown building. The landlord, let's call him Bob, was a classic slumlord, never fixed anything, constantly raised rent, and always looked for ways to nickel and dime his tenants. I was a model tenant, always paid rent on time, never caused trouble, and even fixed minor issues myself instead of bugging him. Then, after 2 years, I got a new job in a different city and gave Bob proper notice that I was moving out. He seemed fine with it, until move-out day. The scam. I left the apartment spotless, deep cleaned everything, patched up small nail holes, even repainted a wall that had a minor scuff. But when I asked for my security deposit back, Bob gave me a smug smile and said, "Yeah, I'm keeping that." There were damages. I asked for details. He refused to give me any. Just flat out stole my $2,000. Big mistake, Bob. Bob thought I was just another young tenant who wouldn't fight back. He was very, very wrong. First, I did some digging. Turns out, Bob had pulled this scam on nearly every tenant who had moved out. Nobody ever fought back because the legal fees weren't worth it for a small claim. But what Bob didn't know was that I had time, pettiness, and a background in legal research. Step 1: Legal payback. I sent Bob a formal demand letter citing tenant laws in our state. He ignored it. So, I took him to small claims court. Bob didn't even bother showing up. The judge took one look at my evidence, photos, cleaning receipts, my lease agreement, and awarded me the full $2,000, plus court fees. Now, Bob had 30 days to pay up. He didn't. Which led to step 2. Step 2, financial nightmare. Since Bob refused to pay, I filed for a wage garnishment order. That meant the courts forced him to pay me directly from his rental income. Even better. When I started digging through legal records, I discovered Bob hadn't been paying proper property taxes. So I anonymously reported him to the IRS and the city's tax office. Result? Massive fines, a full audit, and a whole lot of legal trouble. Step 3, getting his whole building shut down. Now, I could have stopped there. But remember, Bob had scammed dozens of tenants. I contacted the city's housing authority and tipped them off that Bob had been ignoring safety violations for years. They sent an inspector unannounced. And let me tell you, that building was a ticking time bomb. Black mold? Check. Faulty wiring? Check. Illegal plumbing issues? Oh, you bet. Bob was hit with so many violations that the city declared the building unfit for habitation and forced him to evict every tenant until repairs were made. The aftermath. Bob lost everything. He was forced to sell the building at a loss to cover legal fees and back taxes. He got blacklisted by the housing authority, making it nearly impossible for him to rent out properties in the future. And best of all, every former tenant he scammed got a chance to sue him, and many did. As for me, I walked away with my $2,000, court fees covered, and the satisfaction of knowing Bob lost hundreds of thousands of dollars trying to save a few bucks by screwing me over.